Guys, we're back for another exciting episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play presented by Eat Sleep Golf. It's a little later than normal because, well, I moved from Scottsdale to Florida, and, well, tonight's guest is still in Arizona. So I blame the fact the sun might even still be up where he is, but it's almost bedtime over here on the East Coast. But nevertheless, we're here. We're not going to let you down. We're going to try to bat 1,000 this year. And so far, the entire month of January, we hit every week, and we're kicking things off tonight with a really fun app that is – we don't have a lot of golf apps that come on the show. It's usually things like teaching professionals and different websites and, what have you. But, the whole idea of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is to feature folks in the golf business doing things that are unique and exciting to golf. So tonight's app is just that. And I think the thing that excites me the most is and I don't know exactly how it's worded on their website, but a year ago or more, when I first discovered these guys, I saw this, and it said something to the effect of your ball doesn't fly as far, and I'm sure our guest tonight is going to be able to explain that, but we're going to get to that here in a second. As always, hashtag Wednesday Match Play is presented by Eat Sleep Golf, and I'm excited for tonight because, one, the guy, again, he's an Arizona guy, and I'm excited to always learn about new technologies that can help get better at the game of golf. And, I mean, it was probably year 2 or 3 of the Friday foursome when we had an app that was a GPS app, and I downloaded the app, I put it on my phone, and I use it every time I play golf now. So this app might be that. But tonight we've got Mark Stratz from FlagHi Golf Apps with us, and versus me trying to explain what the app is and what it does, Mark, give us an elevator pitch of what the app is all about.
Sure, absolutely. Ricky, thanks for having us. Appreciate the opportunity to be on with you guys and broadcasting live on our iPhones. So very cool. That iPhone that we're on today is really one of the catalysts of our idea. But on the elevator side, what we have solved is air density in golf. So we've created a calculator, if you will, that calculates a home versus a away condition to really equalize and equal out your carry distances on every club in your bag.
I'm so curious, how? I mean, don't give away the secret sauce, but I guess let's start before the how. Let's start with the why.
Sure.
Where in the world did this idea come from?
Yeah, good question. And a fun question that, like you and your golf tournament in Tucson, I've organized an event at Bandon Dunes in Oregon, which we just had our 19th year in a row over MLK weekend. And 19 years in a row, I'm originally from Seattle, Washington, now living in Phoenix. So coming from Phoenix, I've got a higher elevation, about 1,200 feet, low humidity, about 30%, and an average temperature of about 83 degrees. So for me, my clubs in my bag carry farther than they would at sea level. So on this golf trip, the Achilles Cup, you can look it up on Instagram, 19 years in a row, 3 years ago, I found myself playing the Core Crenshaw par 3. It's a 13-hole golf course right off the airplane. And in my match, coming from Scottsdale, playing a person from Seattle, Washington, I lost, which is a beatdown, 7-6. So 13 holes, 7-6, it was over. I was short, I was long, I was short, I was long. Meanwhile, Mr. Seattle, playing at sea level, playing his home conditions, stuck at flag after flag after flag after flag and shut me down. So therein lies the question. Okay, so I got off the airplane, used to hitting my 8-iron 164. Well, the 8-iron didn't fly 164 at Bandon Dunes. So coming home from that experience, I really had that, aha moment that entrepreneurs and innovators have. 2:15 in the morning, I woke up with how hasn't someone or something solved for air density? A home condition versus an away condition. So I put that in a spreadsheet with using Whisper Rock, which you guys are aware about in Scottsdale as a home course. I put in an elevation, a temperature, humidity, and then a stock carry number on a 7-iron. Converted that to 50 feet of elevation, 50 degrees, 80% humidity, and just put an arbitrary number, which would be obviously less than Whisper Rock. And I posed that to a really good friend from college, a real genius mind, the question of air density in golf. So that set us in motion. That was basically January of 2013. We went to work trying to solve that equation. So really like an X times Y equals Z type formula. I'm the idea. Nate Regenball, my partner and co-creator, is the mind behind it. And I think if here today to talk to us about what he did and how he did it, it's butcher paper, pencils and erasers that goes on for, equation after equation that's, 10 yards long. So, with that, we set out to solve that equation. And basically 10 months later on 11/12 of 13, we went live in the Apple, iTunes App Store, and have since launched the Android app as well. So we've been in the market now for a little over 3 years. So.
Well, that's really cool, and you lost me at X and Y and Z. And what's funny about that is I have an engineering degree, and math is hard, and I don't even want to talk about the math. So I'm glad that you're doing the math for us. Now, the app has a pro version. So what's the difference between the base version and the pro version of the app?
Yeah, good question. So the original idea really revolved around carry distances, stock carry numbers of the clubs in your bag. So could you be on the range, warming up, plugging in the data for the day, temperature, elevation, humidity, and then getting kind of stock carry yardages for your lob wedge on down. So that was the idea. So you could go on the golf course and know that I carry my 164. Today it's going to carry 156, right? So it gives you a nice baseline knowledge of that conditions are affecting the flight. And now you go and play. And again, we're trying to simplify the game, make it more fun. Part of that goal too is, hey, can you hit more greens with this? Yes. Can we take some of the guesswork out of carry if I were going to Torrey Pines or playing Phoenix in a cold day? Yes. So, but out of that though, once we had our stock carry numbers, we really had the question posed to, guys, that's cool. But what I'd really love to know, if I'm on a par 3 and it measures 178, what will that actually play? So that was another aha moment of, okay, now we have to solve this equation. So Nate went back to work, butcher paper, pencils, erasers, and really set out to solve that next question. To dumb it down in our language, he really reversed the algorithm to come up with now a carry distance based on a specific yardage. So the pro version, FlagHi Pro, offers you the ability to dial in shot by shot or a par 3, or then a strategic play in the game of golf of, hey, do I want to hit driver on this tee and be left with what club? So it really starts to bring strategy in and really pulling the right golf club while you're on the golf course. So that's the pro icon there. So.
Now, I have to assume I know the answer to this, but is this legal? I mean, I can't use this during a competitive round, right?
No, absolutely not. And, like anything on USGA, PGA Tour, on any tour in the world, which we have wins on a lot of them. No, our pro level guys and caddies use this in practice rounds. They use it on the range prior to really putting down stock carry distance, yardages for the day. And then the app is turned off like the rest of their phone. So no, a lot of our players, professional, college teams, amateurs, etc., just use it prior to a round of golf. So,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
Definitely not USGA legal. Yeah.
So the logo is extremely simple, but I like that. Who designed the logo, and why did you decide to keep it so simple?
That's our design. And it's our design by design. I've been fortunate to play Cypress Point. And Cypress Point is it's a white clubhouse with green trim, and that really carries throughout the entire experience. So we wanted to make sure the app was intuitive, that it was clean, easy to use, and not cumbersome at all. So Nate and I did create the logo, the color scheme, the icons, and launched that app really with an in-house design team of Mark and Nate.
That's really cool. Now I'm a little jealous.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Like,
Whisper Rock and you've played Cypress Point. Like, just stop it, all right? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, we've had some good ones, which is nice. Yeah.
So how many people are using the app, both versions combined, and both iPhone and Android?
Yeah, good question. We're in the thousands. We're worldwide. It's pretty cool to get your Apple screenshot data, and you've got people in Finland and Switzerland and Taiwan and all over the world downloading, which is fun. We've got a college contingent, and we have a pro contingent as well that have used the app. We've heard use the app. Obviously no one's going to be, without being paid, be promoting us after a win, but we've had lots of dialogue with caddies and players that are using it out on tour. So we're getting great validation, and we get continued positive feedback from around the world with our technology.
So on the website it says that you're patent pending. I'm curious, how long is that process, and what does it take to go from an idea to patent pending to it being patent? Like, what's that process like?
Ooh, Ricky, man, it is with two guys in a checking account and day jobs and fathers, it's a tough one. I will tell you, it's very tough. We have been in the patent process now for over 3 years. It's expensive, it's tedious, but we are continuing to go down the path of patent pending. We have our next step with the USPTO. I think it's February 8th, which is an actual review of our algorithm, our methodology, and how we've come up with what we've come up with. So yeah, if that goes well, then hopefully we should be patented post February is our hope. But again, it's U.S. government, who knows? So we're still in the process.
I'll come back and look. I wish the best of luck in that patent pending journey that seems to be a lot longer than what it probably needs to be. So now on your website, you have
without a big legal team behind us, it's it's us and our attorney in San Diego kind of battling through it. So
So you have a news section on your website. Is that news about the app, news about golf, news about Tiger? I mean, we all know how big of a Tiger fan I am. Or is it just a culmination of everything?
I've heard you like Tiger Woods, which is great. I mean, the guy moves the needle more than anybody in sport. And the fact that Golf Channel exists is probably because of Tiger Woods. But, initially we were, right kind of hot off the launch. We were on, Golf WRX, and Golf Digest did a piece of us at the merchandise show. And, initially we had a lot of press, behind the app and what we were doing. So really that news tab was geared towards news about FlagHi. The last thing we want to do is be an aggregator of golf news. Like, there's enough of that, whether you're an ESPN guy or Golf Channel or golf.com, like that's out there. So it's not intended to be aggregator of golf news at all. So simple corporate stuff, if you will, corporate with two guys.
I dig that. Now, the team at Eat Sleep Golf always sends in a bunch of good questions, and one of the best questions they asked tonight, I love this question. So between the three variables, temperature, elevation, and humidity, which has the most impact on the ball? And I have to say, so I'm from Phoenix, right? And now I'm in Southwest Florida, and the difference, just walking around, you can feel that the air is different, you're at different elevations. Like, I can tell the ball flies different. So temperature, elevation, humidity, which affects the ball flight the most?
Again, idea guy. Nate is the technical expert, especially when you start getting into the details. But I believe temperature is the biggest, that has the biggest effect on the flight of a golf ball. Humidity would come in third, and then elevation is probably your second variable.
I will say I hit ball. I played in Flagstaff a year or two ago, and like a
Yep.
pitching wedge should not go 165 yards. Like it's weird.
Right.
Like it doesn't
Right.
even equate. Like I can't wrap my head around it. So I appreciate the fact
Well,
that
and
there's an app like this available.
that's part of the fun, right? In that, if you think about golf, we're 300 plus years old, and over that time, it's been, hey, you're in Flagstaff, take one less club, or hey, you're at Torrey Pines, hit two more clubs. Like, it's been a guessing game of a 5 or a 10 or a 15-yard increment. So to really have an actual equation with a real simple intuitive interface to then get an actual number based on those variables is super exciting, because you can head to Flagstaff. You can arrive for a Latin American PGA Tour event in Bogota, and you're at 8,100 feet. Okay, so if you were playing in Santiago at sea level in the previous week's event, now you're at 8,100 feet. What's going to happen? Well, some of our players, like Kent Buell, who's a web.com player, he knows what's going to happen. He knows when he's in Bogota, his pitching wedge is going to carry 154, right? Or whatever his stock crazy number is. That's the beauty of it, right? Now you can show up. And, Ricky, this in Scottsdale. You could play 7:30 in the morning at Troon in December, and it could be 38 degrees. By 2 in the afternoon, it could be 70. That's a huge delta on your carry numbers just on the same golf course in the same city.
That very
right?
thing translates to Naples. It was 46 degrees when I left for work this morning. It was 82 when I left this afternoon. So the swing definitely happens.
Yeah, or even this week it's Phoenix Open week, People's Open right here. We have great weather. It's going to be high 70s, kind of 50 at night, so it won't be as dramatic. But think in years past when you have a 40-degree start for someone, low-level totem pole guy who's playing at 745, and Phil's coming out at 150, and it's 71 degrees. It's a huge advantage not playing when it's 40 degrees in Phoenix versus 71. So that's an interesting, dynamic to think about on a tour level. Obviously their caddies are well-versed and highly skilled in their profession, but think of those variables on a pro level game and the differences that can impact from a day-to-day basis for these guys.
Now, before we got into this, I was thinking that the courses were a part of your database and you were looking at yardages on courses, but that's not the case at all. So is there any course connection, or is it strictly based on where you are, what all of these things are doing with the weather, and based on your yardages?
Correct. It's solely based on you. We're not connected into, for example, the new Microsoft Golf Cloud, which I think has 38,000 golf courses mapped. We're strictly looking at the variables of the day and how those affect the carry of your of the golf ball.
How are you marketing the app to new users? I mean, you have a website, you're in the App Store, you're popular and successful on Twitter. What networks are you using, and how are you using those to market to new potential customers?
Yeah, good question. And that was, as entrepreneurs and creators of this product, and again, as I started, it's two guys in a checking account, right? It's been self-funded from day one. We're a zero debt company. But we've self-funded the project. And this is where the world gets really interesting. As an innovator of something or a creator of something, you can go live, which is like kind of giving birth. And then you have this like moment of, now what? So we're now live in the App Store. Now what? Are we buried there? How do we get, the product placement? How do we get the right keywords to be put in? What do we do next? So that has been really the $50 million question here is, how do we market this? What are the uses that we see and the opportunities we see? For example, like would we be a great fit for like a Garmin or a Bushnell? Could we embed our very lightweight piece of technology into a rangefinder? Yes, absolutely. Well, how do we do that? Those are some of the channels that we're interested in pursuing. But to get to your question about, marketing and advertising, we've been a 100% social media driven group, whether it's Twitter or Facebook, and it's word of mouth. I mean, it's been word of mouth and guerrilla tactics, like at the PGA Merchandise Show, which we attended in 2014. And we've kept it really simple to date. So,
well, if you come to the PGA show again, and it's funny, so I had been like 5 or 6 times when I lived in Indiana and then Arizona, and now I live a 3-hour drive, and I didn't go this year. It's like it's literally down
right.
the street, and I didn't go. So I obviously need to reconsider that for next year. But now the app itself, okay, so is the base version free and the pro cost? And if so, how much does it cost? Or what's kind of the structure for that? How are you making money?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, the base model, FlagHi, which provides you your kind of club-centric data. Currently, that is a free app in the App Store. If you were to bump up to the FlagHi Pro version, that is a $3.99 one-time download, and that's a model that we've gone out to market with. We are thinking of tweaking that more into a monthly idea. But right now in our version 1 product that we're out in the market with, it's a one-time $3.99 download. So this is what's amazing. And Ricky, you know this really well. Guys will go out and spend $800 on the new M1 driver with a Fujikura shaft or an Acra shaft or whatever they're going to do, right? Expecting what? They've got a cool golf club in their hand, which is nice. Beyond that, will they hit it farther? Maybe. Will that fix their, high left to right, high fade? Maybe. Or are you better off downloading a one-time download for $3.99, having that data right at your fingertips, then pull the right club to actually have a yardage to not be in the front bunker, not be long in the rough. Maybe you have another chance at birdie or a chance at par. That's really our value add right there, is for less than a sleeve of balls, for less than a hot dog and a Coke at the turn, we can and do shave strokes off your game, which is, you can talk driver and technology all you want. This little piece of tech can take strokes off your game, which is pretty cool.
So to that very point, like I won't go spend $12 on lunch and I'll complain if my meal's, double digits. But tonight I went to Total Wine and I spent $75 on beer. So I can totally relate to that concept.
Right.
Now, I didn't tell you before we went live that this was going to fly by. We're already over time, and I've got a couple of questions left, and we got to get to the back nine. But I'm curious because I work in this space and I'm in digital, and not every review is going to be positive, regardless if the product is perfect, which it kind of sounds like it is. So have you had negative reviews? And if so, how do you respond to those on a per review basis?
We've had a couple, and it's been more customer driven. And, we've got a great, info@flaghi.com, reach out to us. We'll communicate, email, phone, text, whatever you want. And I'll tell you that out of most instances, it's been someone not doing something correctly or missing a step in the club setup. And once we've kind of dialed that back in for them, we've had great feedback from then on out for that individual. So,
okay, good.
Yeah, but the feedback has been phenomenal and really rewarding. To hear people, whether it's LPGA, web.com, Latin American Tour, Canadian Tour. We've heard rumors of people on the PGA Tour who have used it. Caddies on the European Tour. Andy Sullivan's caddy has emailed us a bunch about air density. And, one of Andy Sullivan's caddy's questions was, hey, if we're on a tee box and the entire par 3 is over water, does the humidity from the water affect the flight of a golf ball? Okay, well, Nate did the math, and it does, but it's it's inches, right? But for those guys, that matters, man. That's a big deal.
I deposited 2 pennies the other day, and I didn't go to the bank just for that, but at that same point, 2 inches could be the difference between a hole in one, and 2 pennies could be the difference between being and not being a millionaire. So I told the banker, I was like, hey, when I'm a millionaire, those 2 pennies added up to that. So that's really cool, man. Well, I'm excited to have learned more about the app, and I've known about it, like I said, for a couple of years now, and you and I have been in touch via Twitter and so forth, and it was really cool to have you come on the show and to talk about it. But before we let you go, one, I want to let everybody that's watching know that this video is going to be shared to Facebook and YouTube and Google Plus and all over the place. It goes to the Google Plus golf community with just under 25,000 members. We should be breaching that here very soon. It gets posted to eatsleepgolf.com, so a lot of people are going to get access to this. But before we go, we have this segment called the Back Nine. It's just 9 fun, random golf questions. Are you ready for your Back Nine?
Ready.
What's your favorite golf course?
Cypress Point, holes 7, 8, 9.
Wow, that's like a narrow stretch right there. That's pretty good.
I could play 7, 8, and 9 the rest of my life and be fine.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
Good answer, my boy. What's your favorite PGA Tour major?
Probably the British.
Okay.
I like the British Open, man. That is shot shaping, creativity at its best in golf.
I'm not going to yell at you for calling it that because it's the Open Championship, because that's a pet peeve of mine, but I'm going to allow it because as soon as you say British Open, everybody knows what you're talking about. So I'm going to allow it. Now, Tin Cup is the correct answer to this next question, and Happy Gilmore would also be an acceptable response. But what's your favorite golf movie?
Well, I mean, Caddyshack, again, you can flip on a Saturday at 3 and probably watch the rest of it because it's Caddyshack. But that's probably top of the list right there.
I'm just glad you didn't say The Legend of Bagger Vance, because no one said that yet, and I hope one day somebody says it and then means it. Like, I want that. I mean, Will Smith's pretty good, right?
That's probably not going to happen.
Have you ever had an ace?
Yes.
Not fair.
I've had 2.
Oh my God, 2 share. Come on. Where were they? This is a side question because I'm just curious now.
Well, the short, easy one was Mountain Shadows here in Paradise Valley, Arizona.
That doesn't count, but it does because that is a hard freaking golf course, dude.
Right, that counts.
That thing is a tough little collection of holes.
Yeah. And then the beauty, my first one was up in Seattle the day before I moved to Phoenix. Hole in one, shot 69, closed out my main friend competitor, packed it up and drove to Phoenix. So pretty good stuff there.
That must be a thing. Like, I need to play golf right before I move. My buddy Ben in the Troon corporate office got one his last round before he moved to Scottsdale. Right. So I think that maybe I need to move back to Phoenix and play right before I leave, because that seems to be like a thing now. So now you live in Phoenix, and we mentioned the word Troon a couple of times. You know that I work for Troon, and I'm here in Naples at Tiburon Golf Club. Now, be very careful how you answer this, because if you say a course that's not a Troon course, I'm going to be sad. But what's your favorite Troon course in the Valley? So we narrow it into the Valley in Phoenix, Scottsdale. What's your favorite Troon course?
Troon North.
Yeah, that's pretty good one.
I don't remember which 2 9s I like though. I always mix them up, but there's 2 9s I really like playing together. And they tee you off wherever they want, but there's 2 that I really like. But True North I love specifically. I think it's that 9th hole, par 4. You hit a hybrid off the tee, and then there's like kind of a 7-8 iron up the hill to kind of a kind of a Redan style green. That's a great golf hole. But True North, views are great, greens are always spectacular, and it's always a great time up there. So
awesome.
True
Good
North
answer.
For sure.
That's the flagship, but we're trying to rebrand Tiburon as #the new flagship, because it's pretty good down here in Naples. We need to get you down here to play some golf. What golf ball are you currently playing?
Titleist Pro V1X.
Seems to be a popular answer.
Well, I mean, I grew up playing the Titleist Balata ball too, so I've
Oh my
been,
goodness, that got you maybe what, 2 holes, 3 if you're lucky.
yeah, 3 if you're lucky, depending on how many wedges you hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been almost Titleist throughout the whole bag my whole life.
Now, this is a very important question. It happens in every episode of this show, and depending on you and I are getting along just fine, and I don't want it to end on bad terms. So be careful how you answer this.
Yeah.
But he's back. He's playing this week. He tees off in a couple of hours. He's in Dubai right now. But do you think Tiger breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
No.
All right. Good to talk to you. See you later. I'm kidding.
It's so simple,
Why?
man. He's 41 years old. The guys he's playing with are 25. They're hitting it by him by 30 and 40 yards. We just saw by Jason Day and Dustin Johnson, who missed the cut with him.
They all
No
three missed the cut. I mean, welcome to TaylorMade, Tiger, and you all three missed the cut.
Yeah, but the key there is more than half the field is younger than him by 15 plus years. And I remember how I felt at 25 and how I feel at 42, and it's a totally different experience. That's why he will not break Jack's record.
All right, I don't like it, and I think he knows that he doesn't hit it as far, and I don't think it bothers him as much as what it might, or could, or maybe even should, or at least he doesn't show that. But I think
he's still, even though he's hitting it shorter, he still can't find the fairway. That's very troublesome.
that could be an entire conversation in of itself.
Yes.
So we're not going to talk about that because I can't seem to. My driver is broken. I think it might actually be broken because I hit every other club just fine, but the driver is off kilter. But that's not the topic. And your final question of your hashtag Wednesday match play is, what's next for you and the app?
We're thinking about version 2. Maybe a couple automated API features like temperature, elevation, humidity, just automatically plug throughout the round of the golf, throughout the round. So it's not really a static number. It's a moving number that can really provide you data. And then, I think we've got some big picture, ideas around, joint development ideas with a Garmin, a Bushnell, a Sky Caddy, those groups out there that we can really add value to on a player by player, shot by shot basis. So those are some of the things we're working on and we're interested in for sure. So
that is awesome. Well, I encourage everyone to go check out the app. I have not downloaded it and used it, but I'm going to, and I'm going to use, we have TrackMan. It's actually funny. I just got an office. The first time in my life I have an office. I'm kind of excited about that. But there is, behind the office is a net and a hitting bay where they do club fitting, and there's a TrackMan in there. So I think I might just turn on the TrackMan in a couple of days and just find out my yardages, plug them into the app, and be as accurate and as detailed as possible. So thank you so much for coming on the show. This was fantastic. I'll make sure this gets shared and into the hands of as many people as we possibly can. It's going to be shared to Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, web.com. You said web.com earlier, and I'm thinking about that, to eatsleepgolf.com. So I'll make sure everybody gets their hands on it. And as always, speaking of the Eat Sleep Golf team is on the hashtag Wednesday Match Play, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.